How's it going, guys? It is Tuesday, April 28th. Today we are just going to start 10.4. We're just going to do kind of one part of the lesson. It's kind of piggybacking off of using the Pythagorean theorem. But today we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to, let's look at our learning target, to determine if a triangle is a right triangle or not. So your learning target, again, is I can use the Pythagorean theorem to determine if a triangle is a right triangle or not. All right, so what we're doing is now we're going to be given dimensions of a triangle, and we're going to prove, using the Pythagorean theorem, we're going to prove is it a right triangle or is it not a right triangle. Now remember, the Pythagorean theorem only works with right triangles, okay? So let's read this together. Our key idea is if the equation a squared plus b squared equals c squared is true for the side lengths of a triangle, then the triangle is a right triangle. All right. So again, we're just seeing, does a squared plus b squared equal c squared for the dimensions we're given. All right. So this is really simple, and I'm going to kind of fly through. All right, and just show you what the book does. So here's the deal. Really important. The one thing that's really important is, let's highlight, the longest side has to be our C value. Okay, that's probably the most important thing about the entire lesson is we want to look for the longest side first. All right, so 7, 24, and 25. So our longest side has to be our C value. Okay, the other two are the legs. So these are A and B. All right, and remember what I said last video, it doesn't really matter where you put the 7 and the 24. Either one can be plugged in for A or B. It doesn't really matter. All right, but 25 must be C. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We are questioning this. Does A squared plus B squared equal C squared? Okay, so again, we plug in the legs for A and B, and we plug in the hypotenuse for C, and we're squaring these numbers, adding them, and seeing, do they equal what C squared would be? And they do. In this case, 625 equals 625 makes the equation true. We just proved that this is a right triangle. Okay, so again, we just proved that this is a right triangle by using the Pythagorean theorem. Now I know this question happens all the time. I can just look at this triangle and say, oh, this has got to be a right angle. Well, we have to prove it. Okay, we have to prove it using the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, let's look at this next one. Actually, I'm going to highlight this quick. So 90 feet, that's our hypotenuse. Okay, that's the longest side in this triangle. If I look, I have 40, 80, and 90. This has got to be C. Okay, so these are my legs right here. Like I said, it doesn't matter what goes in for A or B, as long as we know these are the legs and this is the hypotenuse, we're in good shape. All right, so if we look, 40 squared plus 80 squared equals 90 squared. We're questioning that. And we end up with an equation that is actually false this time. Okay, so we just proved that this is not a right triangle. Okay, we just proved that this is not a right triangle. It's as simple as that. Okay, so again, our lesson today is just part one of the lesson. This is all the information you really need. Okay, we're just going to try and prove that triangles are either right triangles or not right triangles by using the Pythagorean theorem, plugging in our dimensions for the correct variables. Okay, and questioning, does the equation actually come out to be true or not? All right, and that's all you're going to do today. So at this time, let's actually try a couple. All right, so what happens if they don't give you a picture? This is why it's really important to kind of know that we have to prove it using the Pythagorean theorem. Sometimes you're not given a picture and you can't just say, well, it looks like a right angle, so it's got to be a right triangle. Okay, so what if we're not given a picture? We're just given the dimensions. All right, so I just want to point something out and help you. Remember, our longest side's got to be C. All right, these two are my legs. All right, longest side's got to be C. These are my legs. Okay, so do me a favor, give this a try, see if the equation works out or not. So pause your video at this time, and when you come back, answers will be up and we can discuss them. All right, so in number one, When you plugged in the numbers correctly, hopefully it came out to not be an equivalent equation. All right, the equation did not come out to be true, and number two, it did. All right. So again, that's all we're going to focus on today. And then we're going to move on to something different on Thursday. But right now, you guys are just going to practice this in big ideas. There's, I think, 6 problems that you guys are going to complete. All right. But it is called 10.4 Practice Part 1. All right. In big ideas. So that's what you'll complete today. Tomorrow will be an IXL benchmark on this same topic. Please let me know in email if you have any questions or in the discussion thread, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.